Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt Show. Mike Graham from Talk Sport or Talk Radio sacked. Starmer on the brink. It looked like this morning he was a goner. Has he saved his skin? Should he go anyway? And the BBC, our BBC that we all pay for or meant to pay for, is being sued for $1 billion by Donald Trump. What a bloody mess. I'll take your views on all of these subjects, please. My cough's getting a bit better, but it's still playing me up, so I apologise for that. Good evening. It's 6:30. The country has gone completely mad, completely berserk. Free speech is dead in the United Kingdom. I'm going to talk tonight about Mike Graham. He's been sacked over a Facebook post. He swears he didn't write, but he wouldn't hand over his phone to prove it. Mysterious. Keir Starmer is clinging on whilst his own cabinet are sharpening their knives. Wes Streeting obviously was ready to plunge it into Starmer's back. That's if he could find his backbone. And then Starmer's lot briefed against Wes Streeting. It's really peculiar. And then he just got slaughtered at PMQs today by Kemi. What a mess. This lousy Labour lot, they can't even organise a coup against Starmer. And now the BBC. Why can't they just listen to Elton John and say sorry? Sorry seems to be the hardest word. Donald Trump says he'll sue them for £1 billion. Well, it's £1 billion of your money. That means the licence fee will go up. And the whole thing about this BBC row is just ridiculous. The way it's turned into left versus right. And now they're all blaming this guy called Robbie Gibb because the crime he's committed, he's a Conservative on the BBC board. Oh dear, we can't have that, can we? And they're trying to twist it away from the fact that these people deliberately falsified what Trump said. That's the worst crime, probably, in journalism. And then on top of that, there's all the bias in Gaza and the rest of it. I don't know how anyone can try and defend the BBC. Now, a lot of what the BBC does is good, and I want to see that continue. But do we need BBC News anymore? Or BBC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I was I was listening again to Radio 5 today. Overproduced rubbish. We don't need it. But then again, if Mike Graham sacked, maybe we do. What do you think about the Mike Graham sacking? I think what he said on Facebook was horrid, personally. But is it a sackable offence? I'm not sure it is. Surely what they could have done is just given him a bollocking, told him to apologise, and then on you go. But you see, I know what wireless, or whatever they're called this week, are like. They're the ones who did for me. In the end, they want you to be shocking, but they've got this line in the sand. And obviously, Graham had gone far enough. I feel a bit sorry for him. But I also wonder what all this means for freedom of speech. Likewise, in the Donald Trump case. See, that isn't freedom of speech what the BBC did. They were trying to alter the narrative. You can't have a state broadcaster as a propaganda machine. Not in a democracy. So I want to talk about that, and I want to see these three things. Mike Graham sacking, Keir Starmer clinging on like a limpet on Padstow Harbour, and indeed Donald Trump and the BBC to ask the question, is free speech dead? I've been telling you for ages, all these discussion programmes on the TV, they're all false. They're all cast. They're never going to let you really say. And so what you feel, and so that makes me think about Graham, Mike Graham. How could that ever possibly work? He was never going to go back. They were never going to let him back. But if you're regulated by Ofcom, how can you produce real democratic free speech? The truth is you can't. You literally can't. Not directly because of Ofcom, but because of the radio stations are businesses and they are petrified of Ofcom. They got rid of Graham just like they got rid of me because they're worried what is the fine going to be from Ofcom. So they self-censor. And the way the regulation works, now he's gone, they won't get into trouble because they'll be seen as if they've acted in a diligent way. Well, you know, he didn't say it or write it on their station. I don't agree with what he said. I understand where the sentiment of where he was coming from, but I'm not here to defend him. I'm here to say you can't have free speech with Ofcom. You can't. Same with GB News. There isn't free speech in this country. Everybody is researched. That's why we need to get rid of Ofcom, and you should be able to say what you want. And it's also why I see Mike Graham's now going to set up on his own, a bit like I'm doing, but probably on a bigger scale because I think he's got Dan Wootton behind him. So I think, you know, that's the route he's going to go, non-regulated. And I wish him luck. I do, genuinely. We need more independent broadcasting. But it's a hell of a job, although he's got a head start because he's got so many followers from when he was on a regulated station. But there is no free speech. The idea that there's free speech in Britain, it's not there. I'm sorry I wasn't here yesterday. I was depressed, actually. I was at my daughter's. I went to look after her dog for the day, and I was going to do one. Then I thought, no, John, you need a day off. Because I was so fed up with the BBC story. More on that in a moment. I just thought I had to escape this. Because the BBC, I could see exactly what was happening. The lefties were twisting it so that it became an attack on people like Nigel Farage. It's all about the Russian connections. And all. They all missed the point. You cannot defend what Panorama did. It's corrupt. I'd say it's crooked. I think we have an absolute right to know who edited that speech. Because let me tell you, if they do it to the most powerful man in the world, they could do it to you. In fact, they do it to you. When they do Vox Pops, I talked about this the other day. They can say the country thinks this, and the country doesn't think that at all. Some snitty, shitty, snotty graduate from some university who's just got his first job at the BBC, he thinks it. And he thinks balance is showing both sides of the argument there and then. No, it's not. Balance is saying, what do you think? And if the majority, like today, Rupert Lowe has brought up, shall we bring back the death penalty? They're already sneering at his suggestion. But he has a right to have that debate in the House of Commons. Did you see Sir Keir Starmer? The way he batted it away is, oh, that's a filthy thing to discuss. We won't be doing that. It's a bit like the small boat crisis. They don't want to talk about it because they think anybody who thinks you've got to stop illegal immigration is a racist. When they're not racist, they're just saying it's got to be well controlled and managed. And quite evidently at the moment, it's not. And then they use the courts. Oh, and they use your tax money. This is Starmer to say you're wrong and you can't bring that case. See, these things do tie together. And then there was just this glimmer of hope this morning that they'd all got a backbone and they were going to get rid of Starmer. He's gone. He's a goner anyway. He's toast now. He won't survive past the budget. I mean, I've been saying this for weeks, so I'm kind of wrong, but I'm right. I'm saying he won't last because the public hate him. Now it's clear his backbenchers hate him. It's also clear that even his cabinet don't like him. So, Keir, do yourself a favour. Run off and do something else with your life. Go and watch Taylor Swift concerts. Get freebies for the Arsenal. But you're not a leader. And you'll never be a leader while I've got a hole, oh, excuse me, everyone, in my underpants. Absolutely not. And what we've seen today is Labour, who promised us change, being just as bad as the Tories. They're all fighting for position. And Wes Streeting, he comes over okay. He's quite a good communicator. But is he a leader? I think not. We're the laughing stock of the world. And then we talk about how we believe in free speech, but we don't, do we? Really? There's free speech for people who hate our country. Oh, they can go to the Villa Park and they can cause as much trouble as they want. They can march in London, Manchester, Birmingham, flying the flags of Hamas. They can sing from the river to the sea. But if you're a patriot and you want to put the flag of St. George on a lamppost, or like that bloke today, he's got a pub and they've come to him and said, you've got the flag of St. George painted on the front of your pub because the pub's white. He said, yeah. Well, you can't do that. You haven't got planning. He's had it there for 9 years. It's just this hysteria at the moment. And this myth of the far right. There isn't really a threat from the far right. The threat is from Islamist nutters. Not all Muslims, as I keep saying, but extremists. The threat isn't from Jewish people or Hindus or Sikhs whose girls have been getting raped recently. It's not from them. And why won't the BBC, who are just basically a government department like Starmer, they all come out of the same factory? They've all got the same attitude to life. And that's why progress isn't made. And that's why now we've got snobs like Emily Maitlis and that John Soft Soap Sopal trying to dominate the agenda. David Yelland, ex-editor of The Sun, one of the worst editors ever, trying to come over as holier than thou. Now he's stopped drinking himself to death. He's a reformed alcoholic. Well done, David. But he puts himself over as if he's an expert on tabloid newspapers. It's all a clampdown. It's all a way of controlling us. And as I say, I don't think you're going to get any free speech unless it's all deregulated. What are they scared of? I was listening to Nicky Campbell again today on the drive back. It's so heavily produced. No one's going to go on there and actually say what real people are thinking. So it's false. It's not real. It's an idealized version of any debate. And the Trump thing has proved this. People have gone into their silos and decided this. And now, of course, there's all these latest Epstein letters coming out this evening. So they're going to now say again. I had a good friend of mine today. I was talking to him and they're saying, yeah, but Trump's a rapist. Trump's this, Trump's that. And when you actually say, hold on a minute, he's never been convicted in a criminal court. Or when you say, well, what do you think about what he's achieved in Israel? This guy actually said to me, yeah, well, that's quite good. Quite good. World peace. I'm not saying that excuses him for anything else, because then I would be a hypocrite. But those other things aren't proved. And like some people are saying, oh, the BBC saying this is what Trump meant, so we just made it clearer. No, that's not your job as a journalist. Your job is to present the facts. And when you want to give an opinion, you must clearly flag it. But you see, that's where the BBC have gone wrong recently. All of their people think it's their job to opine on things. It isn't. It's big mouths like me, our job, and Mike Graham's job to do that. Your job is to report the news. And this is where Britain, the land of free speech, the home of democracy, the mother of all parliaments, is going wrong. Take the regulation away from talk radio. Let people say what they want to say. Obviously not gratuitous swearing, because that can offend in other people's households. But ideas can't offend. Ideas can't damage. So that's why we end up with stupid things like trigger points on, great works of art like Shakespeare. No, we don't need it. You're big enough and ugly enough to take the opinion of somebody else, aren't you? But these lefties, they've decided Trump is guilty, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the big... I said to this guy today, I said, so a guy gets accused of rape, and we know he's been a rapist before. Do we not bother with a trial and just send him down or execute him? He said, no, of course not. Of course not. Well, listen to what you're saying about Trump. And that's what I hate about the hypocrisy of the left wing. And also, they're just foul. They immediately start with all the foul stuff. And they use the CUNT word as if it's going out of fashion. When I was growing up, you didn't use that word if you were left wing or saw yourself as a bit of a feminist, because it's a horrid word, degrading. But these lot don't care. And the women are worse than the men, I've found. Oh, I'll be up on a charge for that. So that's what I want to talk about. These three things and how they merge together. I'm not calling for Mike Graham to be reinstated. He won't be. But I'm just saying, when you listen to talk radio or any of those stations, LBC, the rest of them, bear in mind, they can't speak their truth. And whether I like Dan Wootton or not, he's all right. But he's speaking his truth on his own platform. And that's the way the media's got to go. But our state media has got to try to be at least balanced, if not impartial. It can't be impartial. It's just nonsense. It can't be. So why do we keep pretending it can be? And why are they attacking this man, Robbie Gibb, as if he's the one who spliced the tape together? No, he's the bloke who said this is wrong, or our coverage of Hamas and Gaza is wrong. I think he's a hero. I'd make him the director bloody general. And I am not trying to wind you up. And then Starmer. He can't even organise his own demise. He's got to go. 2 weeks, that budget's going to come out. Income tax is going to go up by 2p. They're going to break another promise. Knackered. Nobody respects you, Keir. We despise you. We hate you even. Just go. For your own sanity, go. Right, that's the end of what I wanted to say. What do you want to say? Please start commenting. Loads of people are there already. 16 likes. I like that. Connor Stanage 8434 says, oh, I'm looking forward to this. I'm tuned in Belfast. Good, man. Nice to have you on board. Somebody sent me a super sticker. Mark Nesbitt 6063 has sent me a $5 on YouTube. You can do it as well. All you do is click the little $sign and send whatever you fancy. It all goes to pay for this truly independent broadcasting, because you might not like something I say, but at least you'll know I believe it. I'm not doing it to be devil's advocate. I'm not doing it to make sure I get my paycheck. You pay for me, whether you like me or not. So, Mark, I thank you for your money. Ronnie Hurst, there is no trust in the BBC or indeed in the Labour Party. You are right, mate. You are absolutely right. And the two are the same. That's what's unfortunate. Do you know the press are meant to be called the fourth estate? And they're meant to be, as I always say, the relationship is meant to be like a dog and a lamppost, i.e. we're meant to piss all over them. That's what's meant to happen. But all this has got blurred. It's got blurred the other way as well, when you got MPs, sitting MPs, yes, and I'm criticising Nigel Farage here, being allowed to host talk shows. They shouldn't be able to. Don't get me wrong, he's brilliant. He is brilliant at it. But he shouldn't be allowed to do it. Not while he's a sitting MP. And I'd say that the same to somebody who was Labour or Conservative. And also, there's too many of them. Every time somebody's on holiday, now this is personal now, you get one of these twats sitting in. Oh, wouldn't it be great to have such and such a person? Robert Jenrick, he could do the phone in this week for an hour. No, he couldn't, because it's a highly skilled job. And whether you like Mike Graham or not, and I've slagged him off in the past, I used to say I taught him everything he knew. But he's obviously good at what he does because he's got an audience, which he'll now take to his independent production company. But this blurring of MPs and politicians, no. Our job is to piss on them. That's our job. in the press. And not, to be fair, not going for lovely lunches and, isn't it lovely in Tuscany at this time of year? No, it's not your job. You might disagree. Let's have an argument. I can't believe people are still going to vote Labour after the past 12 months, John. Well, I just can't believe they're going to vote at all, Stephen. Because are the Conservatives any better? Maybe Reform are the promised ones, but they've got no experience and they're messing it up in the councils. I'm just being honest with you. What do you think? There's no such thing as free speech, says Mark Nesbitt, whilst these left-wing wet wipes, bed-wetting numpties, are in charge. Well, that's true. I would agree with that because I've got the same political view as you. However, I think they've got a right to have their view. I'm a great supporter of George Galloway. Don't agree with hardly anything he said. I was talking today again about Jeremy Corbyn, and I got on to talking about Dave Nellis, who's the local MP for Coventry. He only took the wage of a skilled toolmaker. He's now going to be in Jeremy Corbyn's new party. Now, when you speak to this man, you go, yeah, I'm with you. And then he says something, it's like, what, Dave? Don't be so crazy. But you have to admire him and respect him because he just took the wage when he was the MP for Coventry. I wouldn't do this, but he did it, of a skilled toolmaker. He was a toolmaker, unlike you, son of a toolmaker, Keir. But I just don't like the way they're just all too close. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? BDDOM, I like your hairstyle too. Taking the mickey. It needs cutting. It's a right mess. But thank you for your compliment. Send me a $5. Trav890, Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis out. Why don't you fuck off, you fascist? I don't want racists like you on here. That's a ridiculous thing to say. Absolutely racist filth. Get off my programme, you thick idiot. Spot on, John. Ofcom should be off communist, says Drunken Clam 100. Correct. It's not so much. I found with Ofcom, it's not so much that they're left wing or commies. It's just they're busybodies. Just ridiculous. I mean, don't forget, I went right to the Supreme Court arguing my case because my case was that you should be able to speak like the man on the Clapham omnibus. And you see, in a way, that came true because of Twitter and social media. People did start just speaking their mind, which in a way kind of makes phoning a bit redundant. Maybe you disagree with me. But you follow where I'm coming from? But the idea that you could be censored for what you say, and especially in Mike Graham's case, he didn't even say it on the radio. He said it on Facebook, I think. What he said, I thought, was wrong. And I would say that to his face. And then the bit I don't understand is he said I got hacked. Well, if you got hacked, just give them the phone. I found that a bit difficult. But what he said was unpleasant. I'm not going to repeat it. But I don't think it was like the end of the world. I don't think we're all going to clutch our pearls. Maybe you disagree with me. Evening Gaunty, says Dormston Cook on YouTube. Free speech as we know it is dying before our eyes. We're on the brink of losing it forever. If we don't reserve the woke lefties, reverse the woke lefties that are seemingly in control. They are, Dormston. Absolutely. I bet you were looking after the seedlings again, Gaunty, at your daughter's. That's Dormston. I wasn't actually. I was looking after the dog. You won't ever believe. I can't tell you about the dog too much apart from the dog got a modelling job, right? So I had to take him to the bloody, what do you call it, like a poodle parlour, place where they wash them and all that. That's how I spent yesterday morning whilst I was contemplating the world, getting my daughter's dog washed. He did look good, and he's done the modelling job today. I don't know if he's getting paid. I hope he is. Going back to the woke lefties that you just talked about, Dunstan, you said if we don't reverse the woke lefties that seemingly are in control, what we're seeing now, because of this Trump case, and I think the BBC will try and stand up to Trump, need the heads testing. What they should do now is make a full and fulsome apology, and therefore hopefully he'll go, okay, I'll drop it, right? Because it's our money, not their money. But they won't, I don't think so. But the reason the lefties are fighting so hard over this, because they've been exposed. They're the liars. They're the cheats. They're the propagandists. They're the people who have falsified evidence. It's not Nigel Farage. It's not Nigel Farage who split the tape to make it look like this. He's not gone and stitched up Keir Starmer like that, has he? It's some lefty in the BBC, some uber liberal in the BBC who's done this. And so now we see them for what they are. And they're dangerous. These people are cultural Marxists. They've infiltrated every strata of society. They run the universities, they run the schools, they run the BBC, evidently. In fact, they run most of the media. I think I told you. Well, Robbie Gibb, this guy who's the Tory, who they're all trying to say he's trying to bring down the BBC. He's BBC through and through. He's not trying to do that. He's just a real journalist and he believes in balance. When I met him, I've met him quite a lot of times. We used to talk about shock jocks in America. He was an authority on them. He knew all about them. And he knew all about the technique of how he couldn't do it himself, but he knew how to make an audience react. He used to work with Paxman years ago. This guy's a very clever bloke, but he believes in balance. And he was disgusted by what he found out about Panorama, and rightly so. But the left want to portray him as he's now trying to ruin. Oh, I had a tweet from somebody who said, oh, yeah, and he set up GB News. Well, he didn't actually. He was a consultant on the project. He's got nothing to do with it anymore, as far as I know. And then they went, and they're running this deficit. Well, maybe they are. I don't know. But how can you relate that to somebody who was involved 4 years ago? Answer, you can't, if you're being fair. But your lefties don't play fair. And that's why they're celebrating and dancing on the grave of the career of Mike Graham. He's nowhere near as good as I was or am. He's still good, though. And he doesn't deserve to lose his job in this manner. Just like I didn't deserve to lose it. Interestingly, he never supported me. But there we are. Such is life. Pam Millett says, hopefully no. What does that mean, Pam? I don't know whether you're talking about Starmer going. Like the numpty John Simpson who works for the BBC trying to defend the Panorama programme, says Terry Wheatley. Yeah, I actually wrote a reply to him on Twitter. I like John Simpson. I think he's done some... He should go out to pasture now. He's done some great work in the past. Of course he has. Although he got a bit above himself when he kind of made out he liberated Iraq. You know, they all do this. It's like that other one who speaks with very, very low tones. Not Brian Hannahan, he's dead. Who's the other one? The Irish fella. You know the one I'm talking about. I can't bear these people. They suddenly become the star. They're not the star. They're just reporters or journalists. But yeah, John Simpson, he was basically skating over the fact because he said, well, there was no need for the edit. This is basically his argument because we all know what Trump is. Well, that doesn't justify doing the edit, does it? Not at all, if that's what he's saying. Stupid Dipsy Emily Maitlis, who I used to work at BBC London with, she did the same thing. And that little jumped up prat who hasn't even started shaving yet, he's another one. And they've been found out. Right, do you agree with me or disagree with me? Whatever you want to say. Dunstan Cook's just saying, I meant typo. I meant reverse the woke lefties. Yeah, well, I corrected it, mate, so you're okay. So if you've got a view, I want to hear it. I am not going to go on and on tonight. It's 29 minutes already. If you'd like to donate, and I think tonight I'm giving you some good food for thought, so come on, be generous. Donate a tenner or a fiver just by clicking the $sign here on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, if you're listening on a podcast or whatever, check out Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. And when it asks you, do you want to subscribe? Say, yes, it's free. But that just means you always get notifications when I'm going to do a show. So if you could do that for me, it would really help. And if you want to restream the stream, that's great as well. Or pass the link on to other people. Great stuff. And alternatively, you can help fund me by buying me a coffee at www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. And you can donate from a £5 upwards there as well. So all of those ways are ways of helping me. Spread the word, please. Situation in relation to giving opinions on social media is now worse in the UK than Russia and China. I'm not quite sure that's true, but I understand where you're coming from. Trump, please begin a regime change to rid us of this dictatorship-y. He's talking about Starmer. I just wish Starmer was a proper socialist, because he's not, is he? Ronnie Hurst, BBC tried to set up Tommy Robinson. That's correct. That was a Panorama as well. But he saw through it. We need to have pay-per-view for the BBC, get rid of the licence fee. But I think the BBC is too far gone for free speech. I agree with a lot of what you've just said there, Ronnie. I actually think that I would scrap all of the news, because unless they want to have subscribers for it, it shouldn't be paid out of the public purse. But, I'm watching, for example, Blue Light, is it called, set in Belfast, the cop series. That is brilliant. And there's other great stuff they're doing, even if you like Strictly on a Saturday and all the rest of it. I'm not saying the BBC is going to be all po-faced, but it could have a mixture of funding, couldn't it? But Radio 1, that should not be funded out of the public purse. Nor should Radio 2. It's brilliant, but it could be funded by the private sector. And the one that always upsets the knobs, Radio 4. If you love Radio 4 and the Archers so much, then you can pay for it. I don't listen to it. I don't want to pay for it. I certainly don't want to listen to jumped up little idiots, that Nick guy, whatever his name is, on Radio 4. Who does he think he is? Telling us how to think? No, get lost. You may disagree. Sport, well, the BBC hasn't got any sport anymore, has it? Unless you just get rid of Match of the Day, give that to the commercial sector. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Is it true they're saying the BBC licence fee will go up to 250? It's certainly going up in the new negotiations. What mug is paying this? Not me, mate. I refuse to pay for that corrupt something. Indian Joe, stuff the MSM, John. John and Mike talk more sense than all of them put together. That's very kind. Send a £5. Pulling your leg. Richard Pope, good evening, John. Did you see the BBC trying to justify themselves by raising awareness over illegal immigration and unlegit vape shops? I actually thought the thing about the vape shops, I thought that was a good sort of BBC investigation, to be honest. I haven't got a problem with that. I'm not sure that is what they were doing, Rich. But anyway, thank you for your comment. I believe the only person who could stop Labour's decline would be Andy Burnham. Unfortunately, he's not a sitting MP at the minute. Oh, for the record, I'm not a Labour voter. It's just my observation. Well, he tried, didn't he? He had an attempted coup a few weeks ago and gave up on it. It'd be very hard to get rid of Starmer. I would have thought just by now, how do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself? But maybe not. Where are we going? Musical man guitar. Starmer is neither a leader nor an effective manager. He's the human version of a 20 miles an hour roadside. Not wanted, not needed, and deeply, deeply unpopular, and ultimately costs you money. I like that. I'm going to nick that. Thank you, my friend. No, many of my truthful comments are not allowed to be posted. They will be posted after modification. Comes up many times. Not here, it doesn't. That's not me doing that. If you're on Facebook, it depends what you're saying. If you're swearing or something, Facebook might do that to you, Pam. But don't make out that I don't censor you. If I don't like what you're saying, I just don't even bother putting it up. But that's not true. That's rubbish. Sorry to be so blunt. Good evening, John and Richard, my friend in Coventry who listens. Good evening. What we got here? Connor Stanage. The BBC haven't been fit for purpose for many years. Impartial, give me a break. You only need to see the panel and any question time to see their bias. Yeah, it has gone that way. I've done question time twice. And I thought it was quite balanced when I was on it. Although, how would I describe it? I always felt like I was the monkey in the cage at the end of the counter. The other four, they all knew each other. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's the way this group think comes from in media circles. They all think the same. Are you following where I'm coming from here? It's up to you. Be interesting. It's worth talking about. Who's this? Oh, my old mate Jim Garfield. It appears that the BBC are doubling down on no apology. They are today leading with the Trump Epstein email. Yeah, I bet they're relieved about that. On all their outlets with little detail about anything else. That's Jim. And he's just donated, thank you very much, Jim, a £5. Thank you, Jim. He's done that on YouTube. Everyone's saying good evening to each other. That's good. John, hearing the current Home Secretary will be the new PM. It's only a matter of time, says Centric Circle 100. Yeah, I heard that today. The runners and riders to be the new leader of the Labour Party are the Health Secretary. I don't think he's up to it, but there we are. He's a good communicator. Shamana, or whatever her name is. What's her name? Mahmood. How can she be it? She hasn't even sorted out Dover. All the things. The next one they'll be saying is, what's her name? Yvette Cooper. How about Lammy? He'd be a laugh, wouldn't he? Not. I don't know who it'll be. I just know we've got to get rid of Starmer. I've just watched Bill Rammel arguing with Layla Cunningham on GB News. I was watching that before I started, Denise. That he said that the worst threat, according to Prevent, is from the far right. It's just bullshit. Layla, a Muslim, said it's obviously from Islamic terrorists because of one person who killed Joe Cox. He was a far right. John Mayer. Was it John Mayer? Was that his name? These lefty liberals do my head in because they're deaf, dumb, and blind to the bleeding obvious, says Denise. Well, it doesn't fit their agenda. That's why, Denise. That's why. Starmer's Labour will bankrupt the nation within the next 12 months. Could be quicker than that. They are complete and utter shambles. What did the Tories do for 14 years? Although they had COVID, to be fair. The real Labour Party died when John Smith passed away in 1994. Even Margaret Thatcher went at the news of his passing. Such was the esteem in which he was held. He was, you're right. It's a pity his daughter is a propaganda mouthpiece for the BBC. Have you seen her? Sarah Smith. She's the Washington correspondent, the White House correspondent. She says the word Trump as if she's saying the C-U-N-T word or shit. That's how she hates Trump. That's not balanced. That's a disgrace. Her dad, hope he was cremated, otherwise he'd be spinning in his grave. Wes Sweeton has only a 500 majority in Ilford, and he won't be there after the next election. You're right. It's a Corbyn party stronghold. Very good point, Michael Francis. There's no one in the Labour Party to win the next election for Labour. Mickey Mouse wears a Labour Party watch, says Scott Turner. Anthony Taylor says, hey, John, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine, but I'm skint, so you know what to do. Where we go next? Denise Deacon, Bill Rammel on GB News is doing my head in with his deaf, dumb and blind attitude towards Islamist terrorists. According to him, it's the far right that are the threat because Prevent says so and because one person killed Joe Cox, one far right. I've just read this, haven't I? Layla Cunningham, Muslim, is putting him in his place. What's wrong with these lefties? Also, the amount of them defending the BBC yesterday, I must live on a different planet to them. Well, that's what I think as well, because, listen, if it was a right-wing person who did this, I would condemn them if they made a piece for TV and deliberately misled the audience. I would condemn them. I wouldn't go, I can't condemn them because it's Nigel Farage, which is what all these lefties are doing, and it's wrong. A crime is a crime is a crime. But the BBC are now trying to shift the agenda. And they're now, did you see? Oh, that's the one. Who's the dickhead who goes on the roller coasters and always wearing a rubber suit? The geezer, Ed Davey, head of the Liberal Democrats. He was saying it's our BBC and not a penny of our money. Our precious licence money must go to Trump. Well, Mr. Davey, Ed Davey, maybe you should have told the bloody BBC that before they decided to misrepresent him purposely. It was no accident. All this nonsense about, it's accidents. Like I said the other day, why have you got a pineapple up your arse? Oh, I was decorating and I fell off the ladder into the fruit bowl. What, you always decorating the nude? It's as illogical as that argument. Are you with me? I'm not taking it. And I'm also not taking the fact that the BBC cannot be pared down to size. Of course it can. Have you listened to BBC local radio recently? It's appalling. In fact, it's not even that good. BBC News, half the press, maternity wards are full of pregnant people. Yeah, that was a disgrace as well, Craig. And that woman got a rollicking for that, for daring to say women. Because it is women. Only women can get pregnant. Mike Graham lost my respect when he dissed Tommy Robinson. But you see, let me just say what I think about that, D Glamour 4214. He's allowed to have an opinion. He had a different opinion than you on Tommy Robinson. He's allowed to. He's allowed to. I had a different opinion to a lot of people when it came to COVID. I'm allowed to. Because that's democracy. That's free speech. There's some Burke at the moment who's made up a list of all the people who are heroes who basically put their career on the line by coming out against the vaccination. And my name was on it. And I thought, well, that's funny. I'll just leave it. I won't say anything. Today, he's taken my name off and made a big hoo-ha. Jon Gaunt did this. Jon Gaunt did that. Fucking grow up. It's years ago. Oh, and I haven't changed my mind, by the way. I've modified my stance a bit, but I won't be bullied into it by somebody like you moron. Not you, D. Layman. I'm talking about this guy on Twitter. You've got to accept people have different opinions. Me and my daughter was out with her last night. We went out for a quick drink. Went into this village pub. I thought it'd be empty. So did she. Didn't go in till 5 past 10. It was heaving. I said to the barman, I said, what's going on here? I said, I have a bitter. He said, oh, I've got no bitter. It's all gone. Excuse me. They were Morris men. Clearly spending the next Arts Council grant. That's a joke. That was not the 9 o'clock news, wasn't it? But it was great to see a pub so full. But we got talking, and she's straight on to, she's very big on sustainability, and she doesn't like Trump. So we've kind of come to an arrangement now where we'll talk about it, but we'll stop after a while. Because actually, I'd much rather talk about the dog and her life and her ambition and what she wants to do with it. And that's mature, isn't it? You can agree to differ. I wouldn't have my employer my private phone. There isn't just that tweet on there. There may be bank details, private messages, things sent to him trusting they will remain private. Mike was right. There's ways of doing that, musical man. I guess you're right in essence. But they had to know, did he write it or not? And these forensic people who look into the phones, if they're a proper legit, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, musical man. I shall think about what you said. But I don't think that Rupert Murdoch's company needs to worry about taking the bank details of somebody like Mike Graham. That's the only thing I'd say about what you just said. The rest of it is food for thought. I shall have a think about it. Thank you. Just watch JRM. He stated that 2-tier will be gone soon, the beginning of the end. Who's JRM? Jacob Rees-Mogg. What would he know? See, he's another one. How the hell has he ended up as a radio presenter? He's a div. An upper-class toff. I'd say that to his face as well. He knows nothing about the real world. How can he do a phone-in about life? He can't. You need people who've lived. You need rough diamonds. Dare I say, you do need the Mike Grahams of this world. The leftists have infiltrated every institution in this country. That's where the clear out should begin. Well, I was just going through that earlier. You're absolutely right. This guy says Tommy also disgraced Panorama. Well, he exposed them. You're correct. I agree. Time's running out for the lot of them, says Anthony Taylor, 8279. Jackie Ward says, I'm sick and tired of all this censorship. Free speech has gone. I find myself double-checking what I write every time I post on social media. That's the worst kind of censorship. We're being totally controlled, but what can we do? You're right. That's called the chilling effect. They came up, my barrister came up with that during my thing, that people end up self-censoring. And I hear that on the radio because I understand the beat of radio and phoning. So I can hear them where they're thinking, oh, don't say that. Stop, reverse, twist back. I used to just say, because Andy Wright, the guy who discovered me, little weedy looking bloke with glasses, he said, the secret of doing talk radio, John, just say the first thing that came into your head comes into your head. Now, you think that's ridiculous, don't you? But it's true, because then it's authentic. But we have no authenticity. I would go so far as to say we have no authenticity in society as a whole. Look at Starmer. He's not authentic. He's not real. We all know secrets about him, but we're not allowed to talk about them. Phone-in programs aren't authentic, especially ones on telly. They're cast. And why do you think people like Tommy Robinson, whether you like him or not, or Nigel Farage or George Galloway, are popular? Because they're authentic. Love them or loathe them, you cannot help but listen to what they've got to say. Corbyn the same. That's what we need, authenticity. That's what I try to do on this show. But Steffelson, I don't get why a romance movie like Magic Mike XXL would need to be in 3D, but I guess I'm about to find out. Me and a bunch of my homies are going to see it at the IMAX Theatre tonight. You're taking Matron with you? Because I don't understand that comment at all. Jim Garfield, there are. He's donated a £5. Thank you. Saying that the BBC are doubling down on no apology. They are today leading, I read this out earlier, with the Trump Epstein email on all the outlets with little detail. Absolutely. Pam, thank you for your donation. I'm not saying my comments on your program, John, gets banned. It's on breaking news. Oh, yeah, I understand. Thank you, Pam. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I hope I didn't upset you when I said that. I don't censor anybody on here unless they're just complete idiots and being rude. The real riders are his cabinet women, Reeves, Phillipson, Powell, and heaven forbid Rayner. Just watch. She'll be back. You're right, Warwick. There's a donation for me. Indian Joe, 52, has just donated £2. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. On YouTube, he's clicked the $sign. Why don't you do it as well? Or send me a coffee. www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. You know, last week on that, the cut-off day for it is Wednesday night, I can't remember. I hardly got any last week. Got about 4 coffees. And then you think to yourself, well, maybe they don't like it anymore. I don't know. I should carry on regardless. PM questions is compulsive viewing because it's hilarious. So I'd agree with that. Where are we going next? Dunstan Cook says, I'm off to the pub. Catch up with you soon. Thank you, my friend. I can't tell the difference between BBC News and BBC Drama these days. Oh, I can. BBC Drama's much better. That green guy really brassed me off with his white poppy. Oh, don't get me started on him. See, my daughter loves him. She thinks Zach Polanski is the future. So we've decided we're not going to discuss him anymore. Right? But I tell you what, a lot of my friends who are leftists, the guy I was talking to today suddenly said, oh, I'm voting green next time. That Zach Polanski is getting cut through. He definitely is. Lee Goatee 3716 just donated £2 on YouTube. Thank you so much, Lee Goatee 3716. You are a superstar. Who's this? Good evening, John. What is next for Mike Graham? Many people, including myself, have shifted channels. I used to have it on The Office for years, but no more. Guess which channel? I don't know what channel you've gone to, El Trainer, but there you go. I think a lot of them will go. If he starts doing a show on YouTube, people will go and find it there. But it's just so much easier. Radio is still easier to listen to, isn't it? That's the difficulty I found. But let's see. And here's the Chipman 2473. He's just given a super sticker on YouTube to Gaunty. That's me. Thank you very much for a £5. Chipman, you're a star. Thank you very, very much indeed. Well, I hope I've given you food for thought tonight, everyone. Because I'm trying to link those 3 things together. I think it comes down to this thing, authenticity and reality and people just being real. And genuinely, I hope, what's his name? Mike Graham gets something off the ground. I know how he'll be feeling at the moment because I was there. Different world now, though, because you can set up your own thing. It wasn't quite like that when I crashed and burned, so to speak. Right, I'm going to go because my cough's coming back on. EastEnders is about to start. I'm looking after my mother-in-law tonight, so there's plenty to occupy my mind. if you've enjoyed the show, please tell everybody. Please make sure you press the like and the share button. Musical Man's just said, give John a like. Thank you, my friend. Jackie Ward's just sent me red hearts. That means I can stop any minute now. So thank you for that, Jackie. If you can donate some money, brilliant. Go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. I think that's quite a good show. The listing figures tonight are tremendous. So thank you very much indeed for that. I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug, hold them tight, and don't forget to tell them you love them. See you tomorrow. All the best. Bye.